people? Let's head on over to the Discord. First things first, let everybody know that we are streaming. Send out a few notifications over there. Then let's get the comments pulled up. I'm gonna remember to do everything today, guarantee. Now let's head on over here. Uh-oh. Why can't I? Hello? Oh no, why is it frozen? Okay, there we go. There we go. We're good. We're good. Right when I start to brag on myself about, okay, we're good. All right, we're here. We're here. What's up, everybody? Brian, AC, Ghost, what's up, dude? Bruno almost got second, ended up getting fourth, man. What's up, Bruno? Will, Olivia, Lee, what's up, guys? Leanne, what's up? Maddie, welcome, guys. Welcome to another stream today. How is everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Let me know. It's good to see all you guys. Let's go ahead and while we're at it, we might as well drop the link to the Discord. Might as well get that out of the way, right? There we go. If you want to join us over on the Discord, that link should pop up on screen in just a second. How is everybody doing today? It's good to see all these familiar faces. How are you doing today, Wonder Bro? I am doing good. I'm doing good. We're going to get this day started, guys. All right, so today we're going to be talking about this will set you free. Give yourself permission to feel or experience whatever comes your way. We're going to be diving into this today, talking about this a little bit. As human beings, we tend to not give ourselves permission to feel whatever it is we feel. So if it's undesirable, right, if it's not exactly comfortable, we tend to deny ourselves the permission to feel what it is that we feel. And this, of course, leads to what, chat? This leads to unnecessary suffering. So this is a big one today, guys. This is a big one. Make sure you give the stream a like if you enjoy it. All right, it really helps the channel grow. And again, just real quick, I want to say thank you guys for the 10K. Absolutely amazing. I know it's already been a few days, but it's still sinking in over here. So I just wanted to say thank you again for the 10K. Good, enjoying the sunshine. Nice, Olivia. I'm doing good myself. What's up, Kayla? Welcome. Chat is already packed today, man. What's up, Kay? Welcome. So I started doing the streams a little bit later on in the day, and it seems like the streams are a little bit more full. So I might start doing the streams around this time. Can't hear anything. Oh, never mind. My bad. She had a phone muted. You had the phone muted. I hope you start in a few minutes. I have some psychology thing to attend to. Yeah, we're gonna get started in just a minute, Bruno. We're already pretty much packed in here, so it won't take us long. A tired, rough night at work. Had to keep reminding myself to not go into second fear, so I had to practice that accepting inner voice. Nothing wrong with that, Maddie. I'm glad you practiced. Good. All right, guys. Let's see. We're about 3 minutes into it. Chat is already full. We might as well go ahead and get started. So, the point of today's stream, I'm going to remember to remove this today. Goodbye, starting soon. This will set you free. Give yourself permission to feel whatever comes your way. Now, as human beings, chat, one thing that we tend to do more than anything is to deny ourselves permission to feel the way that we feel. And what I mean by that is if we feel a certain undesirable way, if we feel a certain uncomfortable way, we tend to deny ourselves permission to feel it. We don't want to feel it. We don't like to feel it. It doesn't feel quote unquote good. It doesn't feel desirable. It's something that we don't necessarily want to feel. So in comes oh boy, in comes our good old friend, Mr. Second Fear. In comes our good old friend, Denial. In comes our good old friend, Resistance. Right? All these things come rushing in out of habit because we're feeling a certain way that we don't necessarily want to feel. And this is where suffering truly starts. I believe it was Moji, don't quote me on this, but I believe it was Moji who said something along the lines of, it's not the feeling or the feelings that cause the suffering, it is the denial of the feelings. It is the interpretation. I believe that's more of what he said. It is the interpretation of the feelings. Now, what he meant by that was It is when you get up in your head and you tell yourself things like, this is horrible, this is awful, I don't want to feel this is so bad. We start placing all these judgments, all these labels, right, on these feelings, and we get up in our heads and we start this internal dialogue, this internal story about how we don't want to feel what we're feeling, how it's horrible, how we need to get away from it, how you wish you felt some other way. We get into our heads and we get locked into this debate. We've been calling it a debate recently. We get into our heads and we get locked into this debate. We get locked into this internal dialogue, this internal struggle about the way that we feel. I don't want to feel this. This is awful. This is horrible. You know, the list goes on and on and on. There's a million different examples. We get locked in to this resistance. We get locked into this denial. We get locked in to not giving ourselves permission to feel whatever it is we feel. Now, when you're practicing acceptance and when you're coming into this accepting journey, it is huge for you to understand that you need to give yourself permission, right, to feel whatever it is you feel. Now, some people might say, what exactly do you mean by that? What exactly do you mean by give myself permission to feel what it is that I feel? Well, understand, when you're in denial, when you're in resistance, when you're in this mental dialogue about how you don't want to feel the way that you feel, you are not giving yourself permission to feel. You are trying to deny it. You're trying to block it out. You're trying to resist it. You're trying to fight it. Now, this is where the suffering really comes into play, because now, not only are you feeling a certain way, but you're also in resistance. You're also in denial, and this leads to this cycle. Right? This leads to this cycle that's just full of suffering, because on one hand you do feel the way that you feel. Right? On one hand, you do feel the way that you feel, and there's no denying that. But on the other hand, you're trying your best to. You're trying your best to deny it. So it's almost like you're in conflict with reality. You're in conflict with reality. You're in conflict with the way that you feel, and you'll start to make many realizations on this journey. And one of those big realizations that you'll make is that it was never so much the way I felt that was causing me to suffer. It was my resistance. It was my denial of the way that I felt that was causing me to suffer. Right? It was the internal conversation that I was having with myself about how I don't want to feel this that was causing me to get worked up. It wasn't so much um, the physical feelings that was causing me to get as worked up as I was. It was the internal dialogue that I was locked in, that resistance, that second fear, right? That nasty second fear that was causing me to suffer like I was, that was causing me to get freaked out and worked up like I was, right? That's what was causing the suffering at the end of the day. That's what was causing this nasty back and forth. That's what was causing this resistance, this pain, right? And this is one of many realizations that you will make on your journey. Is that at the end of the day, it was never so much the feelings of anxiety that was causing you so much suffering. It was the unwillingness to feel them. It was the unwillingness to feel them, right? So, you will realize this at some point. You will realize this at some point as you practice acceptance, as you practice getting to the point of non resistance, as you practice getting to the point of saying, you know what, if I catch myself adding second fear, I'm going to catch that. I'm going to turn that into an accepting attitude, right? And as you practice this, you may experience a lot of ups and downs. You may experience times where you're like, oh crap, I really want to fall back into that bad habit of second fear. It's so tempting right now. It's so tempting, but I'm going to practice acceptance. You will go through a lot in this journey, but you will make, like I said, you will make a lot of realizations about how 99% of your suffering will come down to that either accepting or non-accepting inner voice, right? And I hope you are all practicing that accepting inner voice. Sometimes that resistance, sometimes that second fear can seem so automatic. You jump up in your head and you start doing it. And that's okay. It can seem automatic because it is a bad habit. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to make progress if it seems almost automatic. You can catch that and you can work on turning that into what Dr. Clear Weeks called the accepting inner voice. So when these feelings come, if you notice that you're in your head adding all this, I don't want to feel this is horrible, this is bad, you can turn that into, I'm willing to feel whatever I feel. Right? Also, on the same note, if you catch yourself in your head trying to fight with these thoughts, you can say, you know what, whatever happens, happens. You can practice this accepting inner voice, even if that second fear seems automatic. And every single one of you in the chat right now are capable. You just have to get going. You just have to get started. You just have to start practicing. Now, Again, the main point of today's stream, guys, is this will set you free if you give yourself permission to feel, which means if I'm feeling a certain undesirable way with my anxiety, if I take a second to take a step back and say, you know what, whatever happens, happens, I give myself permission to feel whatever it is I feel. If you do that, right, this can set you free. And this is a practice that I hope each and every one of you are dedicating to, right? So that was the main point of today's stream, guys. Just a little nudge to tell you, hey, remember, second fear, we have to practice eliminating that, because this new perspective, this new attitude of allowing yourself to feel will set you free. All right, you guys. So just a little reminder, just a little stream to kind of shake you and say, hey, give yourself permission. It's okay to feel what you feel. Isn't that odd? That's something that I feel like we should have been told, since we were born. But I feel like it's not talked about enough. It's okay to feel what you feel. Isn't that in itself kind of like a deep breath, right? So just a little stream to kind of keep you on track, to keep you motivated, guys. This stuff will set you free if you begin to practice it, and practice it with as much consistency as you possibly can. All right. All right, with the main point of today's stream out of the way, if you guys enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. Let's head on over to some comments. I'm going to switch to the pro stream for just a moment. Get me something to drink, as I usually do after the stream. How's everybody in chat doing? Max, Kayla, Michael. I don't think I've missed anybody. But if I did, feel free to say hello, speak up, let me know how you've been. This is why I love you, bro. You make everything crystal clear, and even in a practical example and explanation of how to apply it. That's what my main goal has always been, dude. My main goal has always been to try to make it as crystal clear as possible. I know a lot of times people tend to overcomplicate this sort of thing, right? They tend to overcomplicate it. They tend to make it way more confusing than it needs to be. And honestly, when someone is in a anxious state, that's the last thing they need, right? I feel like we can all agree on that. That's like the last thing somebody needs when they're in an anxious state. They don't need an overcomplication. They don't need this big, long, drawn out, totally just, I don't know, just overcomplicated. They don't need it. They don't need it. They need something short, sweet, simple, and to the point. So that's what I've always tried to do here on the channel. Accepting and feelings and allowing myself to feel them was a huge key to my healing. Yes, giving yourself permission to heal. Giving yourself permission to heal. Yes, yes, yes. What is up, Jesse? Welcome. It's good to see you, dude. Welcome, welcome, Jesse. You always ask us how we are. I'm going to ask you how you've been. I've been good, dude. I've been good. Given the situation and everything, I can't complain, really. I'm here, brother. What's up, Sanchez? What's up, man? How you doing? Hope you've had a good day, dude. Hope you're staying on board with that non-resistance, right? Dropping that second fear. I hope you're staying on board with that. She a thug, right? But yeah, man, I've been good. Given the situation, given the circumstance, I can't really complain. Just taking things day by day. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. Taking things day by day. Best way to do it. Beautiful day here today. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's been beautiful like for the past week or so. Yesterday has been a good day. Good, good, good. Stay on track, dude. Like I was telling you the other day in the stream, this doesn't have to turn into a big deal. Like it really doesn't. This, a little learning opportunity, not a problem. Doesn't have to turn into a big deal. I think what I told you and what I'm going to tell you again, Will, because if I had to re-answer that question without remembering my previous answer, it'll probably more or less be along the same lines. Um, Nervous and feeling jealous and all these things, all these thoughts that come, you tend to engage with them and try to debunk them and argue with them, which just gives them more power, right? So you think you're doing yourself a favor when you argue with your mind about these thoughts, but you're just giving them fuel. That's all you're doing. So it's one of the biggest tricks in the book. We argue with the thoughts because we think we can debunk them or get one up on them, but we just fuel them in the end. So what I would tell you again is I would not fuel these thoughts. I would accept them. So be it attitude, right? And with these feelings that come, of course, give yourself permission, as the title of this stream says, give yourself permission to feel those feelings, and let's get on with our day, right? So we have the thoughts. We don't try to argue with the thoughts. It's a simple so be it, or whatever you choose, right? Rooted in acceptance. And then we have the feelings that usually follow the thoughts, and those are greeted with permission, permission to feel, instead of the horror stories. And then the day is continued on, right? And then the day is continued on. Which, this is all a practice. Basically, at the end of the day, Will, the two main keys apply to this situation too. The two main keys really apply to a lot of life situations. I mean, if there's action that you can take against something, like realistic in the moment action, then sure, go for it. But with life in general, the two main keys, which is, live your life, accept your feelings, stop telling yourself horror stories about your feelings, stop trying to fight with these thoughts and trying to debate with them. These two keys really apply to any and all life situations. And again, like I said, if there's realistic action that you can take in the moment, go ahead and take it. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. But, 9 times out of 10, the two main keys, you know, whether you take action or there's no action to take, 9 times out of 10 there is no action to take. So the two main keys are definitely going to come into play there. Definitely, definitely. Nice, Ghost. I like it. I like it. I like it, dude. I hope you enjoy your new keyboard. Which one did you get? I'm gonna eat a little granola bar here, guys. I'm kind of hungry, so if you hear me chewing, just ignore it. Just ignore it. Just look over it. Just look over it. How have you been, Jesse? Hey, man, it's a big one today. Giving yourself permission to feel, dude. Do you still use the two main keys even if you're not anxious in the moment or when you feel it? I'm gonna use the two main keys for the rest of my life. And I'll tell you why. I always say that the two main keys, acceptance, whatever you want to call it, is good life advice because at the end of the day, denying the way that you feel or fighting the way that you feel is always going to cause suffering. At the end of the day, trying to play chess with your mind, which means to try to debunk these irrational, um, or maybe not even irrational, but these intrusive negative thoughts, trying to play that chess game with your mind is very, very stressful. You do not win at it, right? The mind is very tricky, it's very clever. All you end up doing is gassing it up. So at the end of the day, whether we're talking about anxiety or whether we're talking about somebody who's healed, so forth and so on, I'll always recommend acceptance. Whether we're talking, no matter what we're talking about, I'll always recommend acceptance. So for the rest of my life, I will recommend acceptance. And that's why I say acceptance is good life advice, not just good anxiety advice. Drop a like. It's crazy how natural it feels to fight like acceptance seems alien as a way to approach thoughts and feelings at times. It does seem alien because, I mean, well, you got to think of it this way. You're just in a habit. It's a habit. Most people are in the habit of fighting with their thoughts and feelings, and that seems to be the natural way to go for most human beings. So when you start practicing acceptance, that can seem a bit odd or a bit weird or a bit foreign, but before long, you've practiced it for so long that that will become natural for you. That will become a habit for you. Which, when that happens, whew, that's great. That is great. They're gonna keep her in the hospital for a few weeks, Jesse. I hope she does good, man. Feel free to keep us updated if you'd like. Had to copy and paste the words. Oh, I see. I see. Had to replace the keyboard. Gotcha. Well, I hope you enjoy your new one. You went with the Corsair. I've got Corsair too, dude. Corsair fanboy here. Exactly, Jesse. Do what you can, but I mean, outside of that, what can you do, right? The unnecessary suffering, the unnecessary stress and worry when you fight with these thoughts and feelings, man, that's not changing anything, right? And that seems so clear and so obvious when I say that. Like, the fight with these feelings don't change the feelings. The fights with the that you have with your mind over these thoughts, when you follow them down the rabbit hole and you fight with them, and you obsess about them, that doesn't change anything either. That sounds so obvious and so clear when I say that, but we tend to forget that, don't we? We tend to forget the obvious when we're in the middle of doing it. So just little reminders like that sometimes can be enough to kind of ground yourself back in reality. Like, oh, what am I doing? I'm completely wasting my time here. I'm completely wasting my time with this internal mental battle that I'm having with my thoughts and feelings. Like, I am absolutely completely wasting my time. Nothing is actually being accomplished. I'm just suffering unnecessarily. All of that seems so obvious, but it's easy to forget that in the heat of the moment. So sometimes having somebody on the outside like myself to remind you of the obvious, sometimes that's needed, and it helps kind of bring you back to reality. So nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Yeah, me too. I'm a Corsair guy. Yep. Always have been since I got my PC. Well, when I first started with my PC, I had a bunch of crappy accessories because I spent so much on the actual computer. Um, so I had a bunch of crappy accessories, but when I finally upgraded, I went Corsair on the keyboard and the headset. But how's everybody doing today, man? Catch me up. Let me know how you been. Don't be shy. I love to hear from you, chat. Love to hear from you. What's up, Tony? Welcome to the stream, dude. How you been? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, Tony. We got a few new people over on the Discord yesterday. I hope you guys are enjoying that. Speaking of which, I will go ahead and drop that Discord link one more time. Anybody who wants to join us over there. Yeah, understandable, Jesse. And like we keep saying, that's all you can do. You know, we tend to forget that. We tend to forget the obvious in the heat of the moment. All you can do is let go of that fight with those feelings and those thoughts and do what you can. And in your current situation, there's not a whole lot you can do. So you really have two options: unnecessary suffering, stress, right, with fighting with these thoughts and feelings, or let these thoughts come and let these thoughts go without fighting with them. Let these feelings come and let these feelings go without fighting with them, right? So really, you only got two options there: unnecessary suffering, or do what you can do, which in your situation is not much, and then stop that fight with those thoughts and those feelings, because that's not going to change anything. Almost seems like you discovered it. You have answers to everything. Did you get this knowledge simply from reading books? I got this knowledge from living it, dude, from being in the trenches. I got this knowledge from being in the trenches with this shit. Um, you know, I don't like to say I'm the worst off that there's ever been, but back in my day, I was pretty bad off. I was pretty bad off with this crap. So a lot of this knowledge comes from being right there in the fucking trenches with this shit, and then having to apply it in my own situation. So a lot of it's personal experience for a very long time. Of course, acceptance in general came a lot from, of course, discovering Claire Weeks, and then, kind of branching out from there and researching it and reading about it. But actually putting it into play, putting it into practice, and applying it to my own personal experience, that's where I got most of my knowledge from. Hey, Jesse always makes us laugh no matter what he's going through. I've been feeling like myself again. I have no symptoms. It's more like anxiety wants to keep pulling me back. You got to drop the fight with those thoughts and feelings, right? So it doesn't matter what comes. Whatever comes, comes, right? Doesn't matter if it wants to come back and show its head again. Doesn't matter. None of that's relevant as long as you steady the course, right? None of that's relevant as long as you study the course. It doesn't matter what anxiety wants to do. It doesn't matter what the thoughts wants to do. As long as you study the course, none of that's relevant, right? It's going to do whatever the hell it wants to do. The thoughts are going to say whatever the hell they want to say. But as long as you're studying the course, you're not fighting with those thoughts. You see them, so be it. You have those feelings. Whatever happens, happens. You're keeping the accepting attitude. That's your only job. That's your only job. Whatever the anxiety wants to do is up to the anxiety. Whatever the thoughts want to do is it's up to the thoughts. None of that's your concern. None of that's your job, and none of that's really any of your business, right? You've only got one job, and that's practicing that acceptance. So it's easy to want to play to play like the god of your thoughts and feelings, like what's going to happen next, and to try to map them out and like get them down to this science, and like it's easy to want to like pay so much attention to, oh, what's around the corner. None of this is your job, none of this is your concern. You've got one job and only one concern, and that's practicing the accepting attitude regardless of what thoughts and feelings come your way, right? As far as what the anxiety's up to, not your business. As far as what the thoughts are up to, not your business either. You got one job. You got one job. I play not Fortnite. So Jesse's not a Fortnite player. Halo Wars and games like that. I like Halo Wars. I like turn-based stuff. I wanted to play, been wanting to play Gears Tactics. Never got around to it. No clue, Will. It's still so early that I don't have any major updates on what's exactly is going to happen with that. Don't know if the mortgage will be modified here. Don't know if we'll have to find, more than likely, probably have to find a new place. Don't really know what's going to happen with it. We're only about a week or two into it, so still early yet. We've got a lot of hoops we got to jump through before we can even do anything major. So, but as we go along, if I get new updates, I'll be sure to try to keep you guys in the loop. Oh, it's all good, Edgar. This is what it's all about, dude. Questions. Me personally, I would have tried it for a couple days max. Be like, shit don't work because with this method you need to be consistent. Yeah. So a lot of people base recovery on the way that they feel rather than basing recovery on their acceptance, which is a huge mistake, a very common mistake too. What made me stick to it? Well, I had plenty of ups and downs. Like I tell people all the time, I wasn't perfect at this thing. I had many ups and downs, many, many, many. There was many times where I fell back into bad old habits. It's easy for people to listen to me and think, well, this guy just got it. He got it overnight. But no, I'm just like you guys. I had plenty of ups and downs. So, but what eventually made me stick to it was just being sick of being stuck in the cycle, right? And dedicating to what I knew to be true. So, and that doesn't mean I was perfect at it either. I always tell people you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. You just, you got to try your best to be consistent, but you don't have to be perfect. Perfection's not required, but try your best to be consistent. But, with all that being said, I had plenty of ups and downs. But yeah, I will always do my best to keep you guys in the loop on things. But I gotta wait until, I know things myself. So just a lot of little crap that's got to be done each and every day until we figure out a more solid plan. But as we get closer to that, I'll try my best to keep you guys in the loop. You guys have been very supportive and very awesome. I'll always do my best to keep you updated. either either way it goes, whether we're going to be forced to find a new place or maybe we can get the mortgage modified. Either way it goes, whatever happens, there's a lot more on my plate these days with his passing. So either way it goes, you guys have been very supportive and helpful, and I don't know what I would do without you guys. There's a lot more on my plate these days financially, so regardless, you guys have been awesome. You guys have been amazing. There will continue to be a lot more on my plate financially these days. It's not going to change. So I have you guys to thank for keeping me afloat, and I really do appreciate it. We're on our 5-day streak. You guys have been killing the goal every single day. So I don't know what I would do without you guys. Which Corsair keyboard do you use? I don't know the exact model. I could probably look it up and find it for you. Or let go of a bad decision I made today. Well, feel the feelings that come with making that bad decision, right? Feel the feelings that come with making that bad decision. Like the title of this stream says, give yourself permission to feel. And then once you feel those feelings, don't fight with any of the thoughts. Don't add to any of the thoughts. Just accept them as they come. So be it, right? Drop the internal dialogue that you're having with them, the fight, the conversation, the debate that you have with them. Just accept the thoughts for what they are. A simple reminder of so be it is usually enough. That's usually sufficient, and then feel the feelings that come with that, right? But there's no more adding to. That's what we're trying to get rid of. We're trying to get rid of the adding to part. That's what we're trying to get rid of. Yep, mind is a great tool, but a bad master. And the mind becomes a bad master when you start adding to it, when you start gassing it up, right? When you have these big, long internal debates with it. Everything you touch up there, it's just like gas, gas, gas. There's nothing wrong with daydreaming and using your willpower to think a little bit, but once you get into those sticky, intrusive thoughts, you start gassing those up, there's a good chance you're not going to feel too great. You're not going to feel too great about that decision. So really this whole practice comes down to not gassing anything up, to not adding to anything. Letting it be as it is, letting it come and go as it does, but you're not touching, you're right? You're not gassing, you're not fueling, you're not energizing. That's what it comes down to. Second fear is all just a bunch of energy. It's all just a bunch of adding to resistance, fight, debate, argument, whatever you want to call it. There's a million different things you can call it. A million different things you can call it. You can call it a debate, a fight, an argument, whatever. Gassing it up, fueling it up, following it. We used to call it following negative thoughts. I mean, you can call it whatever you want to call it, whatever resonates with you the best, but at the end of the day, it's all about dropping that adding to. That adding to. We're not adding to anything with our conscious choice. These feelings and thoughts come, and then we use our conscious willpower to add to them. And that's what we don't want to do. We don't want to add to any of this stuff, right? Because that's just gassing it up. That's just fueling it up, giving it energy, making ourselves suffer. I don't think so, Jesse. I don't think so. What is that, a movie or a show or something? Ooh. If you have it. No, I definitely don't keep like a catalog of my videos or anything. I just upload them. I don't actually keep like copies. But if you're wanting to find my old videos, you can go on there and search or scroll. I think there's actually a way that you can filter out the year, I believe. But no, I don't actually keep like copies of my videos or anything on my computer. Especially from that long ago. I just recently got this computer a year or two ago. You can call it confusing or foreign or weird, but yeah, well, it just doesn't feel normal for you, right? Because you're in a habit of doing the opposite, so it doesn't exactly feel normal. But you'll slowly start to readjust to that. You'll slowly start to readjust to the normal way of living. That'll become your norm. Just kind of like how anxiety has become your norm for so long, the normal way of living will become the norm. It's all about that readjustment, really. Feels like, wow, I used to respond to things so bad. Yeah, you kind of blow your own mind. You're like, dude, I used to handle this in such a bad negative way, and look at me now. It's kind of like you impress yourself in a way. is what it feels like to me anyway. Hey, what's up, Barbara? You never know. One day that might just become a reality. I watched hundreds of videos, all of them different ways, but I noticed most of them have coping methods. Yeah, but with this one, you can cope, so you need to drop those. I'm gonna assume you meant can. I don't know. I don't know. What made you stick to hers? By hers, do you mean Dr. Claire Weeks? What made me stick to Dr. Claire Weeks? What made me stick to Dr. Claire Weeks was realizing what she was saying had to be the truth because I've already tried all the other crap. You know what I mean? That's what it came down to me. It was like I've already tried all these other like coping methods and all this thought flipping bullshit. We used to talk about thought flipping on the channel. I said if you're absolutely Tony. Oh shit. Tony, that scared the fuck out of me, dude. I've got my headphones on max. Tony, thank you so much for the $20 tip. I will address that more in just a second. All right. So we used to talk about thought flipping on the channel, and I told people if they're absolutely going to go that route, to keep it short, sweet, and simple. But what we really need to do at the end of the day is get you to the point where you don't even fight with those thoughts because you tend to obsess with them if you go that route. So really what you obsess, what you fight with gets fueled. So we used to talk about little things like that, but I always recommended, not fighting with them at all. But if you're going to go the thought flipping route, keep it short, sweet, and simple. But we really need to get you to the point where you're not fighting with them. So what made me stick with Dr. Claire Weeks, to answer the question, at the end of the day, it was just realizing that I've tried all this other crap and it never worked. I tried all of the fighting with it, never worked. It always made me feel worse in the end. Gave me a little bit of relief for a little while. It never lasted. But yeah, just at the end of the day, dude, it just come down to understanding that I've tried all this other crap and none of it worked. And everything that Dr. Claire Weeks said just made sense to me. It just clicked. Now, I didn't start using it instantly. I didn't start using it instantly. I still had plenty of ups and downs. I still wasn't using it, but I knew about it, and I knew what she was saying was true. But I was overcomplicating the shit out of it, right? But yeah, that's what made me stick with it, realizing that I've tried everything else. And what she said just, I mean, it just rang a bell somewhere. Hello, Wonder Bro. You've been on fire lately. Thank you, Pooty. I appreciate it, dude. I hope you're doing well. Back to the tip. Can we show Tony some love in the chat, man? Tony putting us at the $20 mark for today's tip goal. We are 30 away from hitting a 6-day streak, chat. That is insane. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you. Huge shout out to Tony just now coming in with the $20 tip, dude. Making it rain, scaring the shit out of me in the process. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it, dude. But I do appreciate that too, Pooty. Thank you so much, dude. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying with that practice, man. What was your first tattoo? Do you have any head tattoos? I do not have any tattoos on my head. I've got tattoos, obviously, on my face, closer to the top of my skull. I don't actually have any tattoos on my actual head, though. I heard that was definitely a painful process. I'm sure when I got the ones like near the top of my like side of my forehead, I guess you could call it, that was pretty painful. So I could imagine what it would feel like to get a tattoo on your head. I can only imagine, dude. Feeling tired makes it difficult to not act automatically when the first fear appears. It can, but it still comes down to a practice because at the end of the day, it's still a choice, it's still a habit, right? So it's still very much possible. Still very much possible to not get up there and start, mentally arguing with your thoughts and feelings. Still very much possible, regardless of what comes your way. And I know sometimes it doesn't feel like that because it can be strong in the heat of the moment, but it still is a choice. It still is possible regardless. And like I said, I know it doesn't always feel like it's a choice, and I know it doesn't always feel easy, but at the end of the day, it is still very much possible. Never forget. Never forget. Yeah, shout out to you, Tony. Appreciate it, dude. I know I've been saying this past couple days, but I really want to do something special. Like I don't know, every 10 days we hit a streak or something. I want to do something special for the chat, and I've been kind of debating on like a community hangout in the Discord chat. I don't know, like in the voice chat. I don't know, something like that. My tongue-tied. My testosterone's so high it's ridiculous. Slept 4 hours, but keep going at work normal. Keep accepting. You're doing good, Pooty. You're gonna have ups and downs, dude. That's a very normal part of this journey, but you're keeping the right attitude, and that's what matters the most. Oh yeah, expensive, Jesse, expensive. Tattoos are expensive. Who has the most levels on Discord? I think I'm level 1 on Discord just because I get on there and preach so often. I don't know. I haven't actually checked the ranks over on the Discord in a while. If anyone wants to check that, I'm not really sure. You can check other people's ranks, I believe, by doing the exclamation mark rank, no space, and then space, and then the name of the person you want to check. I believe you can do that. Yeah, I haven't checked them in a while. Oh no, you're good, Edgar. I just tried to read between the lines there, but I think I got what you were saying, right? But yeah, that's what made me at the end of the day just stick with Dr. Claire Weeks because I had tried everything else, dude. I'd tried all the YouTuber stuff. I tried all the stuff I read on forums. Like none of it seemed to work. It gave me a little bit of relief maybe at times, but never seemed to stick. And it was just, it was also overcomplicated, and it's just nothing worked. So when I found Dr. Claire Weeks, I was like, this makes sense. This is starting to click. This is starting to make sense why this is the way to go, because I've tried everything else, and what she's saying just really rings a bell. Like it just makes sense. You know what I mean? Like that's the simplest way for me to put it. It just made sense to me, and there was something in me that was like, this makes sense, right? Yesterday was good, then got on flat tire on the freeway, panic attack, overload, haha, but I survived. So basically, we don't want to look at having panic as a bad thing. We don't want to say yesterday was good except for the anxiety, right? Because then we're looking at the anxiety as a bad thing. So it's not necessarily that the panic or the anxiety is a bad thing. It's how we react to it. It's whether or not we're adding that second fear, right, to fight with those thoughts and feelings. That's what makes it a good or bad thing, not necessarily the feelings themselves, right? But hey, you'll always survive, Brian. I'll tell you that. You'll always survive. I hope you're doing good today, Brian. I feel a lot better lately. That's awesome, Tony. I think you just need to keep at it, bro. Don't go to that mental drawing board, right, and start overthinking it. Just keep what you're doing. Keep at what you're doing. Obviously, it's working. Now, I understand when you say live your life, everything will start to come clear. I'm okay at that point now. Seeing how I did this to myself with Dr. Google, yes, good old Dr. Google. We have him to thank for a lot of our unnecessary pain, right? Good old Dr. Google. Hey, don't beat yourself up. You didn't know any better. None of us knew any better. We didn't know what second fear was. We didn't know not to fight with our thoughts and feelings. We felt in an undesirable way, so we started fighting with it. That's just natural. It's what humans do. Edgar, 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 my man. Thank you so much for the $10 tip. 10 for the 10K. I appreciate you, Edward. Thank you so much. P.S. I hate you. P.S. Okay, I don't. I do. I haven't gotten anything. Well, maybe I have. I'll be honest. I haven't really checked. Edgar, thank you so much for the $10 tip, dude. I appreciate you. I think I did check that day though that you said that, and I didn't have anything. I don't know. I'll check. I'll check again. I'll check again. Thank you so much, Edgar, for the $10 tip. That puts us at 30 out of 50. We are 20 away from hitting a 6-day streak. Who's gonna make it happen? Who's gonna make it happen, chat? Let's see. Did I miss any comments? Did I miss any comments? I was on a bit of a rant over that question there. I may have missed some comments. I don't think so, though. Let's see if the bot has held any comments. Keep in mind, guys, I have nothing to do with the YouTube bot. Like, if the bot holds your comments for foul language, understand that was not me or my admins. That was not my mods. We have no control over the YouTube bot, so and unless I've got the comments pulled up on my second monitor, like over on YouTube, then I can't see when the bot has held a comment. So please don't think that I'm ignoring you. I don't know why it does that. I wish you could turn that off because obviously I could care less about the cursing, but apparently you can't turn that off. So, not ignoring anybody, I promise. I promise, Chad. I promise. I would never ignore you guys. While we're over here on the YouTube screen, let's go ahead and drop the Discord link again. Man, we've been growing that Discord like crazy. I think we're over. We might not be over 600, but we're right around the corner from 600. I believe we're like 30-ish people. That's a really rough guess. That is a really rough guess, but I believe we're like 30-ish people away from 600 on the Discord. During your journey, did you feel this weird energy? You want to do a lot, next minute drain? Yeah, dude, ups and downs, fatigue. It's very normal. You have like those moments where you feel like you could run a fucking marathon and still be gassed up, and then you have those moments where you're just drained. And that's very normal. It's a lot of ups and downs. You got to think you got all these chemicals pumping in your body, dude. You got all this anxiety that's finally getting the chance to burn up without you fucking, adding to it. So, of course, one minute, this anxiety's burning up. You feel like you could run a marathon. Do not tell yourself horror stories about it, right? Two main keys. Live your life. Stop fighting with the thoughts and feelings. Don't tell yourself horror stories about it. But then you'll have like a moment, like the next moment, you're just exhausted and drained. So you got all these chemicals pumping through your body at one moment, and then the next moment, these chemicals are flushing out, and you're just drained. So very, very normal. Nothing to be concerned about. That's funny. A lot of people think they're unique, like, oh, I'm experiencing unique symptoms. But once you've been told by a doc, or you've been cleared, whatever, or maybe you just know that you've been dealing with anxiety for this long. When you're dealing with anxiety, I hate to burst your bubble, but you're not unique. You're unique to me. I think you're special. I love you. I think you're special. But to anxiety, you're not unique. You're not unique at all. You're not special at all. It's just the way it is. It's all the same shit, different diaper, man. That's how it is. Same shit, different diaper. Completely gave up fighting. That's the way, man. That's the way. As with acceptance, I can still live in my life normal as before. I wasn't even showing up to work. So you're getting that life back, dude. Congrats, man. You went at your own pace, but you went at your pace consistently. And it's starting to pay off for you. That's what it's all about. It's starting to pay off for you. Just keep at it. Keep at it. You're going to experience ups, you're going to experience downs, a very normal part of the journey, but as long as you focus on your one job, and what is your one job, chat? Acceptance. As long as you focus on your one job, man, that is what matters. Don't be fooled, chat. Don't be fooled. Really, you've been pretty much sticking with it since day one, Pooty. I've never noticed you having any sort of second fear in your attitude, so you're definitely right on track, dude. Definitely going to start living more because I was avoiding it at first, but I got bored just going to work and coming home. Hey, like I said, everybody's allowed to go at their own pace. I'll never tell anybody what pace they need to go at, but as long as you're focusing on that one job, acceptance. I loved your stream with the fire analogy. It's so true, dude. When you've got these feelings burning and you've got these thoughts burning, it's a fire, and the only thing you're working with is gas. So when you fight with it mentally, with these thoughts and feelings, you're just throwing gas on the fire that you're hoping will burn out. Just doesn't make any sense. So when you break it down and you use that analogy, it really starts to sink in a little bit more. You kind of get a better idea of what we're saying. Yeah, I love that stream. Good stream. Just makes sense when you put it that way. I forget where exactly I heard that analogy for the first time, but I want to say it was Moji where I heard that for the first time. I believe. I believe it was old Moji. Thinking about starting a marathon and watching all the Halloween movies back to back. Starting tonight, maybe. I'm really hype about the new one coming out, so might have to get caught up. Let's see, where are we at exactly? Where are we sitting? So since we broke 10K, we've gained 20 more people since then. Nice. 10,020 subscribers. Oh, nice, nice, nice. 81 people this month. Nice, dude. I really think there's going to be a snowball effect. I think that 20 or that 10 is going to lead to a snowball effect, and then the 20 wouldn't be so hard to hit. Have you looked into the possibility of refinancing your current house, Wonder Bro? Yeah, we were talking about that the other day, but before we can do any of that, I've got to get authorized to do so through the company. So there's a lot of little hoops I got to jump through first. That's why I really haven't had any solid updates for you guys. Bunch of little hoops I got to jump through before I can even figure anything out like that myself. Hey, Mint! Mint coming in with a $2 tip. Thank you, Mint. How have you been today? Thank you, Mint. Thank you, thank you. I just got here. What's up, Mint? You're in the chill part of the stream where we're just hanging out. Hope you're having a good day. I would get some music going, but they've been hitting all those videos for some reason with copyright emails. A main sugar mama. There you go. There you go, Jesse. Eventually we'll remove all the 10K stuff. We're still celebrating over here. So you need a side girl, make them come running to you. There you go. I've been so busy today doing chores and stuff and stress levels rising, but that meant a lot of practice and acceptance. Like the attitude. Like the attitude. Keep that attitude going. Man, I was tired. Jesse's our chat pimp. So in the end, it's been a pretty good day. Like I said, I like that attitude. Attitude rooted in acceptance instead of resistance. That's what it's all about. Yes, thank you, Mint. It's like every other day. That's probably that's probably what contributed to your stress levels rising. Yeah, we're just hanging out, Mint. It's that point of the stream. We're just hanging out, chilling. Thanks for the update. No problem, Abraham. It's not much of an update, but once I get once I get more figured out myself, I'll try to keep you guys in the loop. Not a whole lot to report at the moment. Abraham! Abraham with a $3 tip says to make it 5 with Mint. That unrounded number was causing me anxiety. Thank you so much, Abraham. I appreciate it, dude. What's that put us at, chat? 35. 35. Will we hit the 6-day streak? We will see. So, Wonder Bro, you believe all the wisdom teachers, Buddha, Jesus, all such kind of all saying the same thing. I personally believe along those lines, yeah. Believe they're all kind of saying the same thing. Now, whether, I don't get into the deep stuff with all that, but as far as the actual teachings go, I believe it was all a bit of shared wisdom. I believe it was all a bit of shared wisdom. Yeah, thank you, Abraham. It's been a minute, dude. How have you been, Abraham? Doing well, I hope. I haven't yet, Edgar. I want to do something special on every 10th day, but I'm not really sure. I thought about doing like a community thing over on the Discord where we all hop into voice chat. I don't know though. I've been tossing around a few ideas here and there. See, I wish I had some sort of automatic thing, Abraham. Like automatic thing that would that you could do through actual like Streamlabs, you know what I mean? That would trigger it. But I don't think there's anything like that that exists because how would Streamlabs know? So I wish there was some sort of automatic thing that could be triggered. Now every time I see someone comment on anxiety video, I'm like, oh, that's a lot of second fear. I'm like, oh, if they knew about it, there you go, there you go. It starts to become so painfully obvious. It starts to become so painfully obvious when you start to practice it for yourself. You can see it in other people from like a mile away, and as you practice it, you guys can now totally understand and like relate to when I see it in my own chat. I'm like, oh, you can see it from a mile away once you start to catch on. It becomes so painfully obvious. Yeah, yeah, you can't really set up anything that's automatic. That's the problem because it's like there's no way for, OBS to actually know that I'm like doing a streak thing. So there's no way to kind of like program that in there. So you can't really do anything that's like automatic, but I'm still tossing around some ideas. What do you think of the new Space Jam movie? I think it's awesome, dude. I used to love Space Jam. Space Jam was honestly like one of my favorite movies growing up. I watched that so many times. Yeah, I think it's completely awesome that they're doing it again. I'm all for it, dude. I'm all in. Dealing with a lot of heat where you're at, Mike. I think here it's like 79, almost 80. That eventually got me here. Yeah, yeah. It's where everyone starts, man. It's where everyone starts. That's where it all starts. What's up, Tony? Welcome back, dude. You got to start somewhere, and unfortunately, we usually start with second fear, but it'll lead you here eventually. Eventually, you'll hopefully fall into the right place, like you guys have. Almost 90 in Ohio, and that's hot. you go see the new Space Jam movie? Broadway cinema. I should treat myself. Oh, the Forever Purge. The Forever Purge is actually playing. We've got the Forever Purge playing over there. I'd like to see that more than Space Jam, to be honest. You guys ever watch the Purge movies? Hey, Mike. Shout out Mike. Mike with a $10 cash app. Thank you, dude. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Wait, that's Mike as in Mike 78, right? I think. Dude, I didn't know they had Forever Purge playing over there. I might actually have to do that. It's not a bad idea, Edgar. Send you Snapchats from in there. Wonder Bro, that singing voice. An undiscovered star. 3 words. America's Got Talent. There we go, dude. That's what I should do. Should make that my goal. I should make that my goal. Anxiety and problem solving. I was like, yeah, I can relate to those two things together. I wonder what this is, and I joined the live. I'm so glad I did. Oh, I vaguely remember exactly like what stream you're referring to. Is that the stream that you officially found the channel on? Feel like I check on them to see if they're there or not. How do I prevent this? So just being inner focused, being internally focused, this is something that normally fades in time because, I mean, you got to think for so long you've been used to fighting the thoughts and feelings, so obviously you're kind of like hyper focused on whether they're there or not. But let's say you do a little check in and you know, that's usually, you know, the thought will be sparked. But what comes after that is what's going to make the difference. That's the difference maker. That's going to be what determines healing. So when those thoughts are there, it's whether or not you're fighting with them. It's like I'm having a good day and I think, oh, I haven't had any intrusive thoughts today, which is fine. There's nothing necessarily wrong with thinking that, but, you know, let's say that does spark some negative intrusive thoughts, right? Let's say that does bring a negative intrusive thought. It's what you do with that at that moment that's going to make a lot of difference. It's what you do with it at that moment that's going to determine a whole lot. So if you have that thought, oh, I haven't had any intrusive thoughts today, and an intrusive thought pops up, whether or not you get up there and start debating with it mentally, that's going to make the difference. So it's not so much, oh, there I am again checking in to see if I'm having an intrusive thought. I've already screwed up. That's not gonna make the difference. What's gonna make the difference is whether or not you are fighting or debating with intrusive thoughts when they come, right? So, checking in or saying to yourself, oh, I haven't had any intrusive thoughts today, that's not necessarily going to cause a problem. You get what I'm saying? That in itself is not necessarily going to cause a problem. What would cause a problem is whether or not you get up there when there is negative intrusive thoughts and start fighting with them. We used to say following them, but you can call it whatever you want to call it. Hey, I appreciate that, Edgar. I might have to take you up on that if I can get you added on Snapchat. This is the same Edgar that I'm thinking about, right? I believe. Did you used to have like workout videos? I think it was like in your little you had like a little workout area. I'm not really sure where it was. Is this the same Edgar? I think it is. Cause that's what I've been thinking this entire time. I think I'm thinking of the same person. I was already subscribed to it since that person recommended, but that's when I actually discovered the channel. Oh yeah, so just subscribe to it for later, but finally you like joined a live. Okay, gotcha. Good old morning anxiety, Mike. Very normal part of the process. With negative intrusive thoughts, it's like me, you use the whatever and don't follow them, even if they scream at you and call you things and tell you to do things. Acceptance. Yes, but when you say tell you to do things, I'm assuming you're meaning like compulsions, behavioral compulsions, stuff like that. So, yes, when you fight with a thought, when you follow a thought, when you do anything with a thought, it tends to get gassed up. It tends to get fueled. Do I have children? No, I do not have any children. I'm assuming that's what you mean by the tell you to do things part. It's very, we give in to the compulsions, stuff like that. So I went and watched a lot of your old videos. Like, wow, if I would have found this guy when I first started, I would have recovered already. The catalog, the catalog goes back for years. I don't know exactly how long we've been doing this, but I think it's been about, I want to say 4 years now. I believe roughly 4 years. I think we've been at this around round and about 4 years. Something like that. But hey, at least you discovered it now, Tony. Better late than never, right? That's what they say. It doesn't even feel like that long, to be honest. You need your own book. A lot of people do say that, and I may or may not be working on them, or a book, so we'll see. We'll see. My goal with that would be to make it the most simple anxiety read that's ever been released. Same as with the channel. That's always been the goal with the channel, so I do remember that, Mint. I do remember that. Everyone eventually stumbles upon the channel at some point, right? If they do enough If they do enough searching and digging, they eventually get introduced to the channel. Now, whether or not they actually give it a chance, that's a completely different story. But at some point, if you do enough digging and searching around on the internet, you eventually will find this channel. Eventually. Eventually. Yeah, no problem, Paul. No problem, dude. I do remember that question, man. I remember that question. Because I believe that question in particular sparked a bit of a rant on that stream, if I remember correctly. It got me off on one of my speeches, I think. I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Tony! Hey, Tony coming in with a $5 tip, man. Let's give a big round of applause to Tony. He already came in with the 20 earlier. Now he's coming back with the 5 to round us up to our tip goal, which put us at a 6-day streak. A 6-day streak. Thank you guys so much. Huge shout out to Tony, Abraham, Mint, Edgar, who else was it? Mike, I believe. Huge shout out to all you guys. If I missed anyone, I deeply apologize. Let me know. Thank you guys so much for the 6-day streak. Like I was saying with the streak, man, I would really like to do every 10 days we do a community type of thing. A community like hangout, maybe on the Discord chat. That's the only place I can think to really do that. So maybe every 10 days we do like a community hangout on the Discord where we plan something and we all get in there into the voice chat and we all hang out. It'd be a good way to be able to talk to you guys, like actually talk to you guys through voice. So maybe every 10 days we'll have a community hangout over on the Discord. What do you guys think about that? I thought that'd be kind of like a cool little way to celebrate every 10 days. Get in there and hang out. Whoever wants to join can join. Like even if you weren't, like even if you didn't tip or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can still join it. If we as a community hit every 10-day mark, you can still join. Doesn't matter, and we just all hang out over there in the voice chat. I think that'd be kind of like a cool little thing to do, a community hangout for every 10-day streak. We'd have to plan a certain time. I'd want to try to make it planned if possible so that everybody knows what time to kind of expect that. But yeah, that's kind of the idea that I've got right now. Every 10 days we'll do a community hangout over on the Discord voice chat. Got you some sleep in, Elliot. Nice, dude. Finally got some shut eye. Man, I'm tired today too. What's up, Neon? Welcome, dude. I would love that. Please do. Yeah, it's the best idea I can think of right now to kind of reward you guys for just to kind of get together and have like a little celebration every 10-day streak or something. Hang out in the voice chat over there for an hour or so or whatever. I'm confused that Google says the anxiety disorder is a life sentence. I'll tell you why this ain't working for you, because you're still on Google. So I can tell you why that's not working for you. Ivan is our Google lover. We got to break that habit, dude. I can tell you exactly why you're still getting caught up in all the stress of fighting with your thoughts and feelings, because you're still on Google, man. If Google says that elephants shit unicorns, are you gonna believe that too? Because that's the way you're coming off to me right now. Come on, dude. We gotta get it together. You gotta get off Google, man. Google can say a lot of fucking shit. You not realize that yet? You got to log off, dude. It's time to log off. You can spend the rest of your life on Google. Is that what you want? That's not what you want. I know that's not what you want, and that's not what I want for you. You know how much shit I've read on Google, Ivan, that turned out to not be true? You know how much shit I've read on Google that just turned out to be just utter nonsense? Wait, Abraham said that exact same thing. I just read that. That's awesome. Reading my mind over here. Reading my mind over here, Abraham. Get out of my head. You do understand that anybody can put whatever they want on Google, right? Like, you don't have to go through a certification process where you sit down, and in order for me to type on the Wicca that anxiety is a life sentence, I don't have to sit down with the government leaders of the world at the UN and actually have that statement certified and then ran through a bunch of scientists and psychologists. Like, I can literally just get on there with my thumb up my ass and type whatever I want on Google. You realize that, right? So you should probably stay off that fucking cesspool, to be honest with you. And I'll also say this, you've also tried everything else that you found on Google with no luck or success, so maybe this acceptance thing is your last option and you should really give it a go. You should really give it a go, dude. Stop stressing yourself out. Stay off that shit. I'm telling you, man, it's not worth it. I've taken your advice regarding my health anxiety around my years of cigarette smoking from a few days back. Chris has calmed considerably. Thanks, bro. Nice, dude. I'm glad you're not fighting with those thoughts anymore. So be it, right? Get on that train. Be so cool to do the voice chat. So is everybody in agreement? Because this is kind of like a treat for you guys as far as what we do on every 10-day streak. This is a treat for you guys. So I kind of want you guys to be in agreement on what we do. So is everybody kind of cool with that? You guys think that'd be fun? It can, Neon. Some people say that, quote, it gets worse before it gets better. It's not necessarily that it gets worse before it gets better. It's that you're no longer, having this safety net, this false safety net. So that can kind of make you feel a bit weird, a bit foreign. You're not used to it, right? Yeah, there you go, Abraham. That's more of the truth right there. You don't think anybody would be able to understand your accent, Tony? Is it that strong? Wow, man, I just read your comment up there. You didn't have to do that. Thank you so much. Ivan, you say you're sensitized for the third time now, but you come in here and tell me what you found on Google. I don't think you're listening to me. I think you got some mud in your ears. You can't tell me you're sensitized for the third time now, but then also tell me, present to me your discoveries on Google, and then ask why you're not getting anywhere. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. No, 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 no. No, no, you can't tell me you're sensitized and then show me your discoveries on Google. That does not sound like acceptance to me. It sounds like a bunch of second fear, a bunch of obsession, a bunch of fighting with your thoughts and feelings and getting on Google. You cannot tell me you're sensitized for the third time, Ivan, and then tell me your discoveries from Google, from your last Google session. Does not work that way, my friend. No, no. I think I'm way too shy to join. Even if you don't like want to talk, if you just want to be a part and like mute yourself, you can do that. That'd be no problem. You see what I'm getting at, Ivan? You see what I'm getting at, dude? You can't come in here and say I'm sensitized for the third time and then present to me your Google discoveries, because you're selling yourself out, man. You're already telling me without even having to tell me directly why you're not healing. You ratted on yourself, dude. You ratted on yourself. So now you get a lecture. Now you get a lecture. Now you get lectured. I can't answer why Google says such BS, because millions and millions of people contribute to everything that you read on Google. Um, so that's not a firm answer. You got millions and millions and millions and millions of people that contribute to the nonsense you read on Google. So that can't be answered. But what I can tell you is, if you'll stop trying to figure it all out, you might make some progress. That's what I can tell you. Hey, Paul coming in with the, I believe it was a $7 tip before fees. Paul coming in, we're just going to round it up. We're going to say $7 tip. $7 tip from Paul. Paul, thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate you. I'm glad I didn't miss that. Thank you so much, dude. It's easy to get on Google and think that there's like one mastermind who has all the answers that wrote everything that you're reading on Google. You got to understand how Google works. Millions and millions and millions and millions of people, okay, can get on Google and say whatever the hell they want to say, and they can dress it up and they can make it look pretty and they can make it sound believable. That's all it takes. You don't have to be anything to get on Google and say whatever you want to say. I mean, you can be in your mom's basement with a thumb up your ass and say whatever you want to say on Google. So you got to understand, there's not one mastermind that writes all this shit that you read on Google. You can read a bunch of shit from a million different people, and a lot of those people are dumb as fuck. So you got to understand, when you're reading Google, you don't know where this shit's coming from. You don't know what the source is. You don't know, the person that wrote on Google that anxiety's a life sentence, guys. That same person is probably that person that has never in their life heard about Dr. Claire Weeks or acceptance. It's probably the same person that doesn't know jack diddly shit about anxiety. And then you get on Google and you read this person that doesn't know jack diddly shit about anxiety say, oh, anxiety's a life sentence, guys. You read that and you take that shit to heart, and now you're a mess. Man, how does that make any sense? How does that make any sense? You gotta understand, Google is not written by one mastermind that knows all, that has all the secrets to the world and the eight hearthstones. It's written by whoever the fuck wants to say whatever the fuck they want to say. Even people that don't know jack diddly shit about anything can get on Google and write whatever the fuck they wanna write, and then you get on there and you read it and you take it to heart, and now you're a mess. People that's never even heard Dr. Claire Weeks open her mouth, people that's even never even heard the word acceptance before in their life, right? Abraham. Abraham he's so bothered by this. He does not like it when it's not rounded. Thank you so much, Abraham, for the $3 tip, dude. He says, dang it, round it up. Hey, man, I appreciate you, Abraham. Thank you, dude. Yeah, I'm not, I promise, I'm not heated over the Google thing. I just want you to understand that Google is the biggest trap. It is the biggest trap. You're reading stuff from millions of different people. Um, and you don't know these people. You don't. Who the fuck is Google? Google is made up of all sorts of people with all sorts of dumbass opinions. Um, all sorts of dipshits can get on Google and write whatever the hell they want to write. And I'm sorry, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to say it. Anybody that says anxiety is a life sentence is a dipshit. They're stupid. They're a dipshit. They don't know shit, right? Because that's very far away from the truth. So, I mean, you can listen to the dipshits if you want, but I'm here to tell you that anxiety is not a life sentence. Google said anxiety can feel like a life sentence, not that it is a life sentence. Google says everything. If you search hard enough, Ruth, you're going to find somebody out there who's going to tell you that anxiety is a life sentence. If you search hard enough, you're going to find something on Google from somebody who actually believes that elephants can shit unicorns. Every opinion that possibly exists on Earth, no matter how stupid that opinion might be, you can find it on Google. You can find it on Google. PJ says, if you don't believe Google, why should you believe doctors? Oh, PJ, come on, dude. You can't be serious. Bruno, I didn't mean that in a bad way. I'm actually gonna work on I'm gonna work on a Google article today, and I'm gonna dress it up and I'm gonna make it as pretty as I can make it. And I'm gonna dress this Google article up, and I'm gonna write on there about how you're fucked and anxiety is a life sentence. I'm gonna write all this on this Google article, and I'm gonna dress it up real nice. I'm gonna make it look completely believable. I'm gonna release it, and then we're gonna test your acceptance skills. So let's do this. Let's do this. We're gonna have a divide here, right? We're gonna have a group of people that want to listen to Google, and we'll see how far they get in a couple months. And and now those group of people, they're gonna listen to the Google about how, I'm gonna send them to the side of Google that believes that they can't overcome this. They're gonna be blah 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 forever. I'm gonna send them to that side of Google, and then I'm gonna take the other group of people, right? People B, and I'm gonna send them to the channel, and then we're gonna come back in 2 months, and we're gonna see which group has made more progress. You guys okay with that? We're going to do that. Who wants to be in Group A? There's a place for positive affirmation, Sanchez, as long as it's not rooted in trying to fight your thoughts and feelings, right? That's what it comes down to. So, if you're trying to run away from your feelings, or if you're up in your mind mentally debating with your thoughts and feelings, and you're using that as a way to try to make that stop, and you're in that state of resistance, it's probably not going to do much for you, right? I found that the Earth is flat on Google. I did too. I found that a while back, and I'm a firm believer that the Earth is flat. I'm a firm believer that the Earth is flat. Now, on the same note, you guys probably found me through Google, so you don't have to listen to me either. So, and that's why we're conducting this experiment, right? We're going to send so many of you to the side of Google that is based on the horror stories around anxiety, and then we're going to keep so many of you here on the channel, and we're going to see which group makes more progress. That's why we're conducting that experiment, because I don't want to be hypocritical, right? So you don't have to believe me either. But we're going to run a little experiment to try to debunk that. So who wants to go with the group of people that are going to read horror stories on Google all day and sit around and bitch and moan and piss and moan and fight with their thoughts and feelings? Who wants to volunteer to go with that group? And who wants to volunteer to stay on the channel? And then we're going to come back in a couple months, and we're going to see which group of people has made more progress. So do we have any volunteers? Again, because I don't want to be hypocritical, do we have any volunteers that wants to go with the horror stories on Google and the bitching and the moaning and the complaining? Who wants to go with that group? Do we have any volunteers in chat? And then we'll take some volunteers to stay on the channel here, and we'll come back in 2 months' time, and we'll see which group has made more progress. But I'm gonna need volunteers to go with Group A, and then I'm gonna need some volunteers to stay here in order to conduct this experiment. Hey, no problem, Mitt. I hope you enjoyed it. Hey, don't get me wrong, PJ. You weren't entirely incorrect. Don't get me wrong. You weren't entirely incorrect. There is, and I'm not talking shit by no means about any doctors or therapists. You should always continue to see your doctor, continue to see your therapist, whatever. But you weren't entirely inaccurate when you said, well, you didn't outright say it, but you said something about, Google and doctors, whatever. Why listen to one and not the other? Blah blah blah. You weren't entirely correct. I kind of get what you were hinting at there. There is some bad advice that can be given out by doctors and therapists, in my opinion. Now that doesn't mean you should stop seeing your doctor or therapist, but again, PJ, you weren't entirely wrong there at what you were kind of hinting at, and I'm not disagreeing with you. But with that being said, there's probably a lot more nonsense on Google than there is with most therapists. But again, there is some therapists out there that have never heard of Dr. Claire Weeks. There is some therapists out there that have never heard of acceptance. So you're not entirely wrong at what you were getting at there. I don't disagree with you. But at the same time, it's like we take a controlled group of people and we send so many of them to stay on the horror stories on Google and to stay with, you know, what the non-accepting, resistful advice that we're getting, and then we take a group of people and we limit their knowledge to only acceptance, and then they practice that. We come back and we'll see who's made the most progress, right? So I don't entirely disagree with what you were hinting at there. There can be bad advice given by in offices. There can be bad advice given in offices. So I don't entirely disagree with you there. But more than likely you're going to find most of the bad advice on Google. Um, but again, with that being said, there is a handful of quote unquote professionals out there that have never heard of acceptance a day in their life. So I do not entirely disagree with you there. I agree with you, Abraham. Second opinions are often needed. No, no, you're right, PJ. No, yeah, we're not in disagreement here. I get what you're hitting at. There can be just as bad of advice given in an office as there can be on an anxiety form. That is not untrue. My main point was though, my main point was that you're going to find most of the bad advice on Google. You're going to have a better shot at maybe getting a hold of a therapist or something that knows about acceptance and stuff like response prevention. You're going to have a better shot at getting hold of good advice, um, you know, in an office compared to Google, right? Compared to Google, but let's just face it. Let's make it simple. At the end of the day, you can get bad advice anywhere, right? I think we can agree on that. You can get bad advice anywhere. I am happy though that most people that come in here, they tell me that they told their therapist about what they learned here on the channel and that their therapist agrees with me. So 9 times out of 10, people do come in here and say that to me. And that's why I was saying that you're probably going to find the worst advice on Google, and that there are good therapists out there. But usually when people tell their therapist about me and they come and tell me what their therapist said, they normally tell me, "Hey, my therapist agreed with everything that you said." So there is good therapist out there, right? There is good therapist out there. Um, Acceptance is becoming more widespread. It's becoming more known. It's becoming more accepted. Acceptance is becoming more accepted. But like Abraham said, you know, maybe a second opinion. If you're going to a doctor that you don't necessarily agree with or a therapist that you don't necessarily agree with, there is such a thing as second opinions. Maybe you want to mix it up. Maybe you want to go get a second opinion from somebody else that knows a little bit more about acceptance and response prevention, which is basically not fighting with your thoughts and feelings. So maybe if you're having tough luck with who you're currently seeing, you could go and get a second opinion, and you might eventually find a doctor or therapist who's more rooted in acceptance and knows what they're talking about, right? So maybe that's an option for you, PJ. Maybe you might want to look into grabbing a second opinion. Because they do exist. They do exist. I've had a lot of people tell me their therapist agrees with everything that I'm saying. So they do exist. They are out there. And we were kind of talking about this the other day, how acceptance is becoming more accepted, and how the old ways are slowly starting to die out because they're just not giving people lasting results, right? They're encouraging people to fight with their thoughts and feelings, and they're not getting the results that they want to see from that. They might get short-term temporary relief, but they're not getting lasting results, and that's why the old ways are slowly starting to die out, and people are starting to realize more and more that you can take responsibility for the second fear that you add to these thoughts and feelings, and you can stop stressing your nervous system out if you stop fighting with these thoughts and feelings. That's becoming more recognized. That's becoming more known. So as that's becoming more accepted and recognized, you're noticing that a lot of the old ways are starting to die out. If you look around, they really are starting to die out, and you're starting to notice this increase in the literature about acceptance. You're starting to notice this increase about acceptance and response prevention. You're starting to notice these things become more and more popular, and you're starting to notice the old ways die out. But with that being said, there's still a handful of therapists out there that do live by the old ways, right? To fight the thoughts and feelings, blah, blah, blah. There is still a handful of people out there that live by these old ways. It takes time. Just like anything else in life, it's going to take time for these old ways to die out and for these new ways to come in. But they are starting to come in more and more. You know what I mean? It is starting to become more and more popular. I'm starting to notice that more people are telling me that their therapists are agreeing with what I say, and they're agreeing with acceptance, they're agreeing with response prevention. This is starting to slowly become the new go-to, and the old ways, the more ignorant ways, are starting to die out. If you take a look around, that can't be denied. Acceptance is starting to become more mainstream. Response prevention, which is basically the same thing, is starting to become more mainstream. And all of these old ways of fighting with your thoughts and fighting with your feelings, they're slowly starting to die out, right? But again, with that being said, there's still a lot of therapists that are kind of, in the old ways. They're kind of ignorant to the subject. They're still doing what they were taught, right? And that's when you get people in the chat that are like, I'm not making progress. They've been telling them, I've been doing this for so many years. I found your channel. I found out about acceptance. Now I feel like I'm making more progress than I ever have, even with my therapist. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that one. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I can't tell you how many times people have come in here and said, Wonder Bro, I'm starting to make more progress than I've made in years working with this guy, right? I cannot tell you how many times I've been told that. It's a ridiculous amount. And that's because the old ways are dying out, dude. They don't work. The old ways are dying out, and acceptance is flooding in, and it's starting to become more mainstream. Acceptance is key as a word for me. The best thing to do is expose yourself to the thoughts and just accept it and find yourself a therapist when thoughts come. Just do not engage, accept. Yeah, find yourself if you're going to go the therapist route, try to find yourself a therapist. This is my opinion. You can do whatever you want to do, but try to find yourself a therapist that's rooted in acceptance, right? For all those people that have therapists that are not rooted in acceptance, like I said, I couldn't tell you how many times they come in here and they say, Wonder Bro, I'm making more progress with this than I made in years working with this guy, right? And I'm like, well, that makes me feel good, but maybe you should find a new therapist then? Maybe one that's rooted more in what we're doing here? Um, So you're going to find mixed opinions. You're going to find people that are stuck in their ways. You're going to find therapists that are stuck in their ways. You're going to find therapists that are stuck in the old school way of doing things, which is fighting with your thoughts and feelings. And you're also going to find therapists that are more new school, that believe in acceptance, that believe, like Dr. Claire Weeks believed. You're going to find therapists that teach more about acceptance and response prevention. Um, if you're going to go the therapist route, which is up to you, I highly recommend you find one that's rooted in acceptance. Because I'm telling you, dude, the old school way of doing things, it's dying. It's dying out hard. It is dying out hard, and maybe not in our lifetimes, but there's going to come a time where you don't hear about things like fighting with your thoughts anymore. You don't hear things about fighting with your feelings. You're going to see that there's going to come a time, well, we might not see it in our lifetime, but there's going to come a time where the only thing that's discussed in offices as far as anxiety is concerned is things like response prevention, right? Which is basically acceptance. Um, there will come a time where that's the main go-to. There will come a time where you don't hear about the old ways anymore because the old ways don't work. The old ways don't produce recovered people. The old ways don't produce healed people. The old ways produce coping. The old ways produce people that just manage. The old ways produce people that are just getting by, right? You're not going to see that for long. That's eventually going to die out because it just doesn't work. And Dr. Claire Weeks knew that, right? Dr. Claire Weeks knew that, but she wasn't that popular. She just wasn't that popular. She's becoming more popular, but at the time she just wasn't that popular. No, your comments aren't getting deleted, Elliot. I'm just not. Hold on. I'll make sure they're not getting deleted. Yeah, they're not getting deleted. I was just on a rant. I haven't read anybody's comments. I love my last doctor who told me that. Makes me lose faith in docs, period. It's just pills, 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 and what triggers you, even though I don't have it, and it comes when it wants with no trigger. Yeah, so like I said, the old way's dying out, man. Yep. Treat those thoughts the same as you to treat any negative, intrusive thought. Don't fight with it, right, Q? Found out how Dr. Claire Weeks found out acceptance was the way. She found out because she suffered with anxiety and panic herself. So not only was she highly educated and intelligent, but she also had personal experience with the matter. That might play a part in it too, PJ. I mean, I don't. That that's a bit of a debate. I don't know. I don't want to say for certain, but keeping people hooked on pills, keeping people recovery equals less clients. That could play a part of it. I don't know. I don't know how malicious that is. If that if that's a huge part of it, or if it's just people being ignorant in their ways and stuck in old ways or not. So I don't know how big of a part that plays in it, but that could be a play. That could play a part in it. Big pharma, got to keep people on the got to keep people on the drugs. So I don't know. That's controversial. I don't really know. It could play a part in it, but either way, the old ways are dying out and the new ways are coming in, one way or the other. All right, chat. That was a nice little debate. I'm glad we had it. But I am going to go ahead and end it here because we are up to that 2 hour mark. So thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys. Thank you for the company if I enjoyed this stream. I love you guys. Thank you for the 10K. Thank you for all that you do, and I'm sure I'll see you very, very soon, probably over on the Discord. But for now, we're going to end it here, guys. I love you. Stay awesome, and remember, stay on board. Stay on